baby. Your 2002 Viking football team, we are proud. The 2002 Viking football squad entered the season optimistically, with hopes of reaching the state playoffs for a fourth consecutive season.
Life is funny. You got one moment, you got one time. It never goes backwards. For all you seniors, for all the time that you guys have put in, all the hard work, all the dedication, all the blood, sweat, and tears, this is what it's all about. It comes down to this, and your season's over with. You believe in yourself, believe in what we've done, believe in the coaching staff. More importantly, believe in each other. Seniors, 4 years, you play together, you play hard together. You went through a lot of up and down, good and bad. This is your year to shine. Don't let it pass you up.
Although most of an experienced line returned, there were new faces trying to fill the gaps left by graduations in the skilled positions. Benedictine, on the other hand, came into the game not only with revenge on their mind for last year's defeat at the hands of the Crimson and Blue, but also with what turned out to be one of the leading running backs in the state, Ray Williams.
You know that kid is butter because he's on a roll.
St. Joe's showed some signs of good things to come during the season, with the speed of Jermaine Jefferson, the moves of Rodney Williams, the hands of C.J. Kostranchik, the power of Tommy Gallucci, and the heart of Mike Svelbar. The outcome of the season opener, though, was determined by Williams, who rushed for over 3,000 yards during the season and led the Bengals deep into the Division III playoffs.
You can't stop him. You can only hope to contain him.
Week 2 had the Vikings on the bus, traveling out to Chardon to face the Lions of Notre Dame Cathedral Latin, another angry Division III team seeking to avenge last year's defeat.
The nice thing about losing one game, it's only one game. And I was thinking about it on the bus ride on the way in here. One game is nothing. We have 14 games left, and that's the attitude that we have to take.
The team that VASJ was expected to dominate was blasting holes through the defensive line, doing much more than just holding its own against the lakefront Norsemen. Latin's passing game was occasionally causing problems in the Vikings secondary, giving the sideline coaches a reason to raise their voices. The offense was able to move the ball thanks to the arm of Mike, the hands and concentration of Rodney.
Ladies and gentlemen, in the unlikely event of a water landing, please use third base as a safety flotation device.
And the power running of Jermaine. The game remained scoreless through the first half.
You gotta look inside! You got any heart? The game of football starts here!
The defense showed up big throughout the game, though, especially in the form of co-captain Anthony Dugarte, who crashed through for this crucial sack, and later tipped this ball away from a wide-open Lion receiver. Another co-captain, Mike Gallucci, helped the defense keep NDCL scoreless for 3 quarters. The players and the ball made some strange moves that eventually decided the outcome of the game. Although Latin was the beneficiary of a lucky bounce on this fumble, the Vikings had no reason to complain. The first score of the game came on this punt from deep in St. Joe territory. Junior DeJuan Hoover picked up the bouncing ball and took it all the way.
Gone.
The game-winning score was equally fortuitous as Anthony Ramos took the ball off tackle, lost it in the air, where once again DeJuan was waiting to take the ball into the end zone.
I'd like to see that again, please.
The lucky touchdowns that provided the disappointing 12-7 final score had some of the pessimists predicting a 2-8 season for the Norsemen, while even the optimists were simply hoping for something better than 5-5.
That's the way I like it.
It's amazing what one game can do to a football team, what one game can do to a football program. The coaches throughout their lives coaching have seen it happen before, where what one game can do to a team. And I think tonight this is the game. This is the game that we need. This is the game that's going to define us as a football team. This is probably the biggest game in the Air Force right now. We can define, like I said, who we are, what we want to do. We talk about pride. You talk about loyalty. You talk about all things. Who are we? Yeah, we are the Vikings. We are the Vikings. It's about time right now to start showing it. We can break crowd. We're on television. What else can you guys ask for? This is a great opportunity for us to get out there and show everybody who the hell we are.
Let's get ready to rumble!
Next up was the battle for the axe with arch rival Euclid, and it was the Vikings' turn to exact some revenge as the Panthers had taken home the trophy last year. The first half was magnificent as Tom Gallucci carried the payload in from the 5 for the game's first score.
Baby, let's do it!
The defense also came up huge, consistently shutting down the varied Panther attack. As CJ came up with the timely interception. Mike showed off another of his Houdini moves, escaping the claws of the Panthers and moving the sticks. In the second quarter, he hit Juwan with a pass down to the 10-yard line that led to a 14-0 lead. Thanks to this conversion pass to CJ. The defense continued sticking it to Euclid, with Anthony Ramos getting in his licks. And then Clifton Anwar and senior Sean Murphy and Jermaine Jefferson combined to stop the Panther attack. After a punt, the Viking ground game got moving again with CJ picking up 12 yards. And Jermaine tacked on another 15, leaving blue and gold clad defenders in his wake. Then Mike sneaked in his second touchdown of the night, making the halftime score 21-0.
The feeling is unbelievable. This is unbelievable how you feel right now. Don't let these guys back in the game. That's good football. We keep doing what we've been doing all the game, taking hold of the ball, having fun, we're going to be fine. We're going to take this damn ass right back where it belongs.
We got Jefferson and Hoover. Frazier, stay home over there. These guys come down, kick ass. Keep this out your way. You guys messed up. I told you guys. What do we talk about today? You're playing another way of football. If you came out and bust your ass every single play, you have to ever...
Watch that game on the ass. I want to look...
Go! Never go back to playing football the other way. This is the only way to play football.
How good did that first half feel? Suck it in. You want it more. You want more.
Yes, we do.
You gotta want more.
We want to kill.
But you know what? You know what I want?
What you want, Coach?
I want the X. I want to carry that sucker right off the field.
The third quarter started out well, with Johns and Asar stopping the first Euclid drive with an interception. Things quickly went south from there, though, as Mike was picked off. And the Euclid quarterback ran 77 yards for an apparent touchdown. Brought it back, but 8 plays later, Euclid did push it in for a 21-7 score. A fumble gave the ball back to the blue and gold, and things looked bleak as the Panthers were on the move again. Their fullback rumbled in for the third apparent touchdown of the quarter. but he lost the ball before he got to the end zone, and the Vikings recovered. Things weren't rosy yet as the Svelbar pass went through Hoover's hands and was intercepted. This score counted, and at 21-13, it was now time for the Vikings to slam the door on the Euclid comeback or to just give up on the season. Well, the team, to a man, decided that they still had a postseason to worry about, and they were determined to get there. Jermaine took it in from 29 yards out. After Chaz McKnight recovered a Euclid fumble, the elusive Mike Seabar picked up more big yardage.
I love it, baby. I love it.
Travel Bears.
And workhorse Tommy Gallucci got us within close range of the clinching touchdown, and he punched it in on the next play. Jermaine Jefferson tacked on the final score in the 42-13 victory that returned the axe to its proper resting place.
What a phenomenal game. It was one of the best games I've ever been involved in. You guys were absolutely magnificent. And now you understand what it means to play from the heart. You understand how good you guys can be, how good you can be, how far we could go. First two games we all played very well. You look at the ratings, and they reflect that. Then we come out and be a team Euclid who's rated in the top 10, and we drill them. So tonight's going to be a perfect night to keep that up. It doesn't matter who we play. It doesn't matter. It can't matter. Who cares? One at a time.
Next on the schedule was Trinity, and on the second play from scrimmage, Rodney Williams gave the Vikings an early lead they would never relinquish with a 33-yard interception return. Anthony Dugarte made his presence felt early also, knocking down this pass at the line of scrimmage. Also on defense, co-captain Brian Truman stopped the drive cold and the quarterback flat with this tackle. The offense was also having a field day in this game. CJ took the inside handoff up the right side for a gain of 41. Mike looked beyond the wide open Rodney Williams in the left flat to find super sophomore Rick Leisure in the back of the end zone for the score. Rodney made good 2 plays later, recovering a Trinity fumble to give the offense another shot at scoring. He then caught a couple of passes in traffic over the middle to keep the drive moving.
I am amused by the simplicity of this game.
He and Mike capped off the drive with this pass to build the lead to 21-0. Svelbar was hot in this game, here hitting DeJuan Hoover for a 20-yard pickup. Jermaine Jefferson carried the load for the final 35 yards and the 28-point lead. With the game safely in hand, Trinity finally did put some points on the board, but Hoover responded on the ensuing kickoff. After Jermaine took a seat on the bench, Anthony Ramos showed his stuff with a big gainer on the left side. And 2 plays later with this touchdown gallop.
The great thing is right now, you guys are in control of our destiny. We are in control of our future. What we do tonight, not only controlling our destiny, but knocking off a team 4 to the state. Everybody on the brothers picking on the beat us. A lot of computer points, a lot of pride at stake right now. A lot of pride.
Willoughby South came into DiBiase Stadium as a ranked powerhouse. Tom Gallucci let them know early that they were not going to push the Vikings around.
Welcome to the big show.
The Rebels were another team with a score to settle with St. Joe's. A long, sustained first-period drive put 7 points on the board for South. The ensuing kickoff return by Germain put the Vikings in good field position. The C-bar to Subel connection brought the ball down to the 23, where we turned it over with a costly fumble. The defense stiffened, holding South to a 4th down and 11 to go on the 15, when a lapse in the coverage opened the door to the end zone again. South led 14-0 at the half.
A lot of people out here, guys. The place is packed. The place is packed.
Right? Now how much nothing with crying back? What do you want to do about it? You're not sitting there crying, hold the pitch, or get your ass up, get out there, and let's do it. We can do it, guys. We can do it. We can do it. Go, man, go.
The Viking offense got moving in the second half, inspired by Mike's 8-yard scramble and Rodney's 3rd down, 14-yard reception. Mike's 4th down pass to a wide-open Siege capped the scoring drive and made the score 14-6. The defense tightened again as Tom worked around the holding lineman and made the sack, forcing a punt. Mike showed off his arm again, firing a bullet down the right side to Eddie Subel for 23 yards. In the same drive, after the change of quarters, Mike converted a 3rd and 10 with another bullet to Ed. Seabar took the ball in himself on a rollout for the 2nd score, but again the conversion failed and the score was 14-12. On their next possession, South picked up 51 yards on an end around to bring the ball deep into VASJ territory. The run led to this 4th down score, which combined with the 2-point conversion gave the Rebels a 10-point lead. The Never Say Die Vikings mounted another drive as Mike hit Rodney for 12 yards. He then scrambled for 17. Threw a couple of passes for another 15, combined with a penalty, moving the ball to the 10, where they were confronted with another 3rd down. This pass to Ed was good for a 1st down, but not a touchdown. And the struggle to get the final yard left too little time on the clock to get the balls back. University School, VASJ's next opponent, was greeted by a 12-play march following the opening kickoff. It was capped off by this Velbar 5-yard scamper, giving the Vikings a 7-0 lead. The highly touted University quarterback ran into trouble early. He threw his first pass into the arms of Tom Gallucci, who returned it for a touchdown and an early 14-0 score. The Viking defense kept University in check most of the afternoon with plays like this by Cliff Unwar. Germain showed University how to move the ball on the ground, break tackles, and keep his balance on a brilliant 69-yard touchdown run. Giving up late first-half scores was one of the weaknesses of the Viking squad this year, and it raised its ugly head again in this game, as U.S. scored on this tipped pass with less than a minute to play, making the score 21-10. With a chance to cut the lead down to 3 points, U.S. marched after the second-half kickoff down to the Viking 1. Rodney stepped up to make a huge drive-stopping interception. Tommy Gallucci managed to keep his knee off the ground and took off as fast as his legs would carry him for a gain of 58 yards. Although the Norsemen failed to score on that drive, the change of field position set the tone for the rest of the game. The rush of Anthony Dugarty was a main factor in the interception by Anthony Ramos in keeping the U.S. offense stifled. Seabar to Williams got the offense moving again to reestablish the dominant field position. A critical stop by Jared Thompson and Criff Onwar forced University to punt, sinking their comeback hopes. Mike Svelbar threw deep to Rodney Williams, who was wrangled down by his face mask, moving the ball to the U.S. 5-yard line. From there, Tommy Gallucci bullied his way into the end zone for his second touchdown of the afternoon. With a 28-10 lead, it was the defense that stood tall in the fourth quarter, shutting down the University offense with drive-ending plays like this by CJ. And consecutive sacks of the quarterback by Tommy Gallucci and Anthony Dugarty.
They say that the weather's an equalizer, but that's bullshit. I guarantee you that they're thinking, boy, we're glad it's pouring rain out. That's exactly what they're thinking. Until we stick the ball down their throat and we stop them. The better team will win the football game.
The game started out on a positive note, though, forcing the Knights into a 3-and-out following the opening kickoff and climaxing a 7-play drive with this 6-yard Gallucci gallop. The defense remained tight, and freshman David Lighty and senior Anthony Dugarty combined to drop the St. Thomas punter. And in the second quarter, Rodney smacked the Knight tailback into next week, and the ball into the hands of John Zadesar. On the next play, Jermaine came through with the biggest offensive play of the game, a 50-yard jaunt.
Y'all ready for this?
After the kickoff, Anthony Ramos recovered another fumble, and it looked like St. Joe's would add to their 14-0 lead. Mike Seabar took the ball around the right side, but a holding call brought it back. Rockland Davis probably enjoyed the opening kickoff of the second half more than any other play during the season. We were unable to capitalize, though, and counted on the plays by the defense, like this tackle by Rodney, in order to stop the Aquinas drives. Unfortunately, on 4th and 10, St. Thomas hit a big play down to the 3. On 3rd down from the 1, the Knights scored a hotly disputed touchdown to cut the Viking lead to 14-7 at the end of the 3rd quarter. After a long but scoreless St. Joe drive, Aquinas began moving the ball toward the end of the game. This 35-yard pickup brought them into scoring position. The defense held tight, but on 4th down from the 21, we were flagged for interference in the end zone. On 3rd and goal from the 11, David Lighty came up with a big interception to save the game, but the white and blue team was flagged for being offsides. Given another chance to pull the game out, Aquinas ran for the score, catching the defense off guard. The extra point to tie the game and send it into overtime was routine, until Ed Subel crashed in and blocked the kick to preserve the 1-point victory.
We work on special teams. We work our butts off on special teams. And tonight we told the kids coming out here, special teams are going to win this game. I'm a prophet, right? How the hell did I know?
Well, 1 week later, it was time for a return to the Rubber City to face off with Saint Vincent St. Mary.
Last year, motivation. Do we need any more? No. The embarrassment the first game, knock us out of a playoff the second game. That's a hell of a lot right there. The computer points, we've talked about it every night. We talk about it in practice. We control our destiny. This team is not good enough to beat you.
The whole team was fired up to avenge last year's twin defeats to the Irish. and Mike and Rodney struck the first blow. Two plays later, Anthony Ramos added another 7 with his interception return. The defense kept the Irish offense off the field, and the announcer's worst nightmare combination of Zvelbar to Kostranchik worked twice. Ramos picked up another 12 yards before the drive stalled. Kicking specialist Vincente Anastasi came through with a 25-yard field goal to make the halftime lead 17 points.
When I screwed up, UCA's, yeah, just fix it. You're smarter than me.
Don't agree too quickly when he says that.
One more half, 2 more games. We're right where we want to be. We're right where we want to be. They cannot beat us. I told you that from the beginning. And you guys are playing great. Do not let up. Go after them every stinking play and kick their ass. St. Joe's!
Although St. V's was held to 0 yards in the first half, that wasn't going to be the case in the second. This 33-yard run was followed up with a 2-yard plunge to cut the Viking lead to 10 points.
Let's celebrate.
Again, the Irish broke loose for a big gain, but Anthony caught the quarterback from behind in what turned out to be a huge tackle. St. Vincent's took 4 shots at the end zone, finding linemen and linebackers flying in their paths. On third down, 8 white helmets gathered around to keep the Irish back out of the end zone. St. V's bypassed the opportunity for a chip shot field goal to pull within a touchdown and found only the right side of the St. Joe defense. But in the fourth quarter, the Irish once again struck with the big play to score. If they had kicked the field goal earlier, this extra point would be to tie the game. As it was, they remained down 4 points as Tony Skirta crashed the middle for a second vital blocked extra point in as many weeks. With time running out, the Irish got a 1st and 10 on the Viking 13. Trailing by 4 points, they needed a touchdown, but on first down, they were denied by Rick Leisure. The Irish second down pass was broken up in the end zone.
Let's celebrate. It's all right.
On the third attempt, the tipped pass was complete, but Rick Leisure made the game-saving tackle short of a first down.
All right.
On fourth down, CJ held on to his composure and the receiver's jersey to keep the Irish out of the end zone. In an effort to run out the clock, Tommy Gallucci's tremendous effort was negated by a penalty. Undaunted, the powerful senior fullback carried the ball again on 3rd and 8 to seal the hard-fought win. Another away game, this one at Division I school East Lake North, turned out to be a little easier than the last 2 nail-biters. Jermaine turned the corner and rumbled for 35 yards on the second play of the game. On the next play, he carried again, but lost the ball where Sean Murphy was waiting for it. The first-string defense was tough all night with an interception, a blocked kick, and 3 fumble recoveries. McKnight knocking this one loose and getting the sack, while co-captain Brian Truman got the ball. But the big show this night was the offense, which was hitting on all cylinders. Eddie Subel's diving catch gained 27 yards. 2 plays later, it was the end zone time again as Mike hit CJ for the score. Anastasi's PA team made it 14-0. The The defense stepped up again to shut down yet another North drive, with Rodney, Tony, and Anthony sharing the sack. Another pass for a score was in the makings as Mike faded back and threw to a streaking Rodney Williams for the third score of the night. The half wasn't over yet, and the ground game had to get in on more of the fun. Jermaine's run down to the one was followed up immediately with his own 1-yard plunge for the score. At halftime, it was 28-0. In the third quarter, Sean Murphy's second touchdown of the night was much more conventional than the first, as Mike found him wide open in the end zone. The core of next year's team got a chance to show its stuff too, as DeJuan Hoover returned the kickoff 33 yards. Sophomore Frank Frazier showed his skills and power during the final drive. And junior Vincent Anastasi did his fullback thing for the final score of the night.
We play 2 great quarters one week, 2 great quarters another week. Play a so-so team, play 4 quarters. We're capable of playing 4 quarters, coming out and kicking their ass and doing what we've got to do.
Madison came into the final regular season game with 2 things in mind: revenge for last year's loss and wanting the home field advantage in the playoffs. Rodney and Jermaine wanted to take back both of these incentives in a hurry. Unfortunately, for the second time in Madison territory, the offense could not push it in. This time down, though, we did get 3 points on an Anastasi 31-yard field goal. The defense held the visitors in check, yielding very few yards, and the offense moved the ball well all night, but simply not in the red zone. One of the few times that the Vikings had to punt turned into a disaster. Madison took over on the 24. They promptly put the ball into the end zone for a 7-3 lead. Trying to get us on the board again, Rodney gave it everything he had to move the ball into enemy territory. Again, the offense moved the ball, getting it into the red zone for the 3rd time, but it came away without a score as the ball was ripped from David's hands. With Madison moving less than a minute before halftime, Lighty came up with a big interception that VASJ needed, but interference was called on the play. On the next play, the blue and white hit for another score, sending the teams into the locker room with Madison leading 14-3.
We want to come out this half and do what we did a couple weeks ago. We played a great half, all right? Let's get the bad half out of the way, the hell with it, and go out and play a good half. And kick their ass. You gotta want to do it. You gotta believe you can do it. You have to have the attitude that we can do it. You can do it. You're better than they are. You're better than they are.
The score remained the same into the 4th quarter when once again the Crimson and Blue could not get into the end zone and settled for another 31-yard field goal from the ever more consistent Anastasi. Late in the 4th quarter, the Vikings had their last chance. Mike Seabar took it himself around the left side, close to midfield. He then hit Eddie Subo over the middle for 16 yards. Mike picked up another 15 yards on his own scramble. From the 24, he threw in the direction of CJ, who made the catch of the year and took it in for the score.
As cool as the other side of the pillow.
The 2-point conversion pass to a wide-open Rodney Williams tied the score and set the stage for overtime. Madison had the first possession and a 3rd and 3 from the 13, dropped in a perfect pass to a well-covered receiver. When the Vikings had the ball, Mike could not find any open receivers and ended up slipping down on 4th down to end the game in the valiant comeback attempt.
We got to keep going after him, and don't let up. and good things are going to happen. You got to believe. You have to believe. There ain't no tomorrow, baby. There ain't no tomorrow.
St. Vincent St. Mary came up to Euclid to extract a little revenge for their loss to St. Joe's 3 weeks earlier. And at the start, it looked like they would do just that. But the Vikings had a little revenge to dig out, too, considering the loss in the playoffs last year, which made the fumble recovery so sweet. Thanks, Rodney. Looking for some yardage? Watch Tommy coming out of the backfield. But getting into the end zone was still a problem for the Vikes, who turned it over on downs. David again got us close at the end of the first period with a terrific catch.
We need a party sound.
But at the opening of the second quarter, the 30-yard field goal attempt came up about 1 foot short.
Feeling hot, hot, hot.
The defense was holding up their end, hitting hard and stopping the Irish in their tracks. Finally, Mike tossed to David Lighty for the game's first score.
See people rocking.
On the next possession, St. V's was forced to punt, and CJ worked hard on the return.
Keep up the spirit. Come on, let's do it. Feeling hot, hot, hot. It's in the air. Celebration time. Music's sweet.
Mike, the ever-elusive one, called his own number and avoided 5 tacklers on his 38-yard run. But again, the Vikings went away without scoring, clinging to their 7-point lead at the half.
We all know in our heart. We should be up at least 17-0 again. All right, we're not. Well, what are you guys doing to this team? What are you doing? You're kicking their ass. The bad news is we screwed up again. The good news is we're still up 7-0. All right? You're doing a good job. You're doing a magnificent job on defense. We are taking the game to them.
In the third period, Ray Rossman thought he was a tight end. He showed good hands and power running, but needs to work on his speed. Meanwhile, the defense, with its pursuit and gang tackling, was holding the Irish at bay. Closing out the third quarter, and starting the fourth with this sack by Ramos. The big play, though, came about 1 minute later when Tommy and Tony forced the fumble and Brian gobbled it up. A true team effort. On the very next play, Mike hit CJ for a pickup of 20. And 2 plays later, thanks to a stunning effort by CJ, the same combination worked for the clinching touchdown. The Irish final effort was lopped off by Lighty's interception from his knees.
How you feeling?
In his extra effort to make a first down to run out the clock, Tommy Gallucci again broke out a big gainer to ice the cake and preserve the shutout. Revenge is so sweet. The following week, in a sectional semifinal, the Vikings ran into a buzzsaw by the name of Girard High School, whose athletes enjoyed playing the game of their lives on that particular Friday night. That night will not be forgotten, but it should remain in the shadows of the memories of the great accomplishments and glory that the class of 2003 seniors brought to Villa Angela St. Joseph High School over the past 4 years. From the bottom of our hearts, thank you, Vikings.